Hello. So I recently finished reading This Mighty Tome. Not the book actually, I read it on my Kindle, but it's a great book. I wanted a copy of it to put on my shelf. It is Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss, of course, runs the Tim Ferriss podcast, one of the most popular podcasts in the world, and he basically interviews super high functioning people, a lot from like Silicon Valley tech startup sort of crew, but also high functioning athletes and just anyone who's at the top of their game. And this book is like a compilation of the best bits from all these interviews. So he takes the maybe 3 or 4 takeaway things from every individual, and the result is this book, and it's great. You can flick it open to any page and you're pretty much guaranteed some nuggets of wisdom. So it was, at the same time, it was inspiring and somewhat depressing, to read a book like this, hear a story of some 20-something-year-old who's just selling his third company to Google, sort of begs the question, what am I doing with my life, So it puts me in mind of what I like to call the second most philosophical question, which is compared to what? And of course, if I compare myself to Elon Musk, well, I haven't really achieved a whole lot in terms of productivity, but compared to some bum on the street, I'm doing all right. So we're always somewhere in the middle between these extremes, and that's just the power of our consciousness. We can decide how to frame things, and in that way how we see ourselves. So I've sort of been in this self-knowledge and personal development game for pretty much like 15 years now, since my early 20s, and it's been interesting recently because my partner Manu, she's recently found some of these motivational speakers, and she got right into this one particular person, and I sort of told her this is all sort of like a rehashing of Tony Robbins, who also happens to be in the Tools of Titans book. And so I got Manu onto Personal Power 2, which is the audio series from Tony Robbins, and that's something that I did 15 years ago now, and it's been an interesting experience to sort of re-listen to some of that stuff and to watch Manu going through it for the first time, and it makes it very clear to me all these things that I know but I'm not really living and acting on anymore. So it brings me to that idea of we say knowledge is power, but of course knowledge is only power through action, and knowledge that you don't act upon is worth nothing at all. And made me think back to how into the Tony Robbins and the personal development stuff I was, but how much really was I living and how much was I applying in my life. I mean, yeah. This brings me to another idea I heard recently, which was a bit of a wake-up call for me in the last couple of weeks. It's really got my ass into gear in a good way, actually, but it was a Stefan Molyneux conversation with Vox Day. It was just something Vox Day was mentioning as a sort of tangent, but he was telling a story about some person coming to him and telling him they have all these ideas in their head and they're so excited, and they just want to get them out there. And his response was sort of like, how do you know you really have those ideas in your head? Maybe that's just a feeling. Maybe it's just a feeling that you have all these great ideas, but until you make them manifest somehow, they're not real. You don't actually have those ideas. All you have is a feeling. And that connected with me in a big way, and it reminded me of all this personal development and motivational stuff that I used to listen to, and I had to self-reflect, am I just addicted to the feeling of listening to this motivational stuff and glimpsing the potential, and then I get really excited just off the potential of the things that I might do and feel good about that potential, but then never act on it and just keep going back to get the dopamine hit of feeling good about the potential. And I don't want that. I don't want to just be someone who talks about it. I want to actually do the things in my life. So these tools like Tony Robbins, and it's such standard, sort of obvious stuff to me by this point, and so many people have the same message. Mike Cernovich's Guerrilla Mindset, says the exact same thing. Jordan Peterson, another man that I revere, I'm doing his future authoring program at the moment. It is basically the exact same process. This lady, Jana Kingsford, who Manuel has been really into at the moment, is sort of the same story, and it's really just about getting clear about your goals, and also getting clear about what will happen if you don't change the behaviors that you want to change, and really building a propulsion system for yourself. But it's actually doing that work, not just thinking about how good it would be if you use those tools. But it's made me realize that I do have all these tools, and I've had them for such a long time, and of course you need that periodical reset to be reminded of them. But it's gotten me to this other idea recently of a media diet and information diet. So that comes along with the recognition that I do have all the knowledge that I need to do the things I want to do. I do have all the tools that I need, and I have the support I need around me to do the things I want to do. So I can put a pause on the dopamine hit of novelty and this information addict, really, that I always scrolling down, we're always wanting to find out what the next thing is. And I noticed that in myself, that I want to know what the current affairs are, because I feel like I'm missing out on something. But at the same time, when I look at my life, and the way Jordan Peterson says it, it's not all it could be. And I still find myself slipping into procrastination and just behaviors that don't serve me. And one of them, for instance, would be, I'm watching YouTube videos, and it's tragic. I used to be a bit of a pro gamer, and I don't have time for games now, but if I sit down for a sandwich during the day, I'll watch a bit of Quake, maybe Quake Duels, and it's just in my head, I need to set my life up in such a way that I'm not just sneaking a half hour binge watching, vicariously watching someone else play this game, but get my life set up to the point where I can make that time for myself and destroy some people in first-person shooters. And that's just the danger with the internet today, because there's so much content. We're totally spoiled for choice, and you've just got to make the discipline happen. And so it was just a couple of weeks ago now that I found myself slipping again, and I sort of had to remind myself, it might be time to watch my habit tracker video again and start going on all these things once more. So but I just want to leave you with that idea of a media diet. Turn off your YouTube notifications and just go back to basics and do the things you need to be doing, because we all know the things we could be doing to make our lives incrementally better, and it's those daily incremental improvements that will result in an epic life down the end of the line. So I want to thank Tim Ferriss for Tools of Titans. It's been a great inspiration and a slap in the face and a kick up the arse in some ways. So, and I'm going pretty well on the media diet, and just trying to live and do the things that I know I should be doing. So thanks for watching, and have an awesome day.